Well, key things for us is, as I mentioned earlier, we are implementing a new academic framework at the university. We're moving from 8 modules in an academic year to 4 modules in an academic year, and changing the structure of the academic year. Therefore, it's a real opportunity for us, while modules are being rewritten, staff are working on redeveloping their modules, for us to get involved and support them and look at the real ways that learning technologies, students' institutional technologies, students' personal technologies can be integrated into learning and teaching, and looking at the whole aspect of learning and teaching, the face-to-face delivery, what can be delivered online, and how the two are integrated. So over the next 2 years, over this period, that's going to be actually crucial to us. In addition, we have introduced some other new technologies, so our video conferencing environment, and instant messaging, so to work more flexibly with students and encourage the student contribution. We've just rebranded our internal social networking environment as another environment where students can contribute.
I mean, I suppose as a rider to that, I would say, in terms of staff development, I think we need to shift from a kind of staff development viewed in individual terms, I'm going to learn about blogging or wikis or whatever, to team-based staff development activities in which teams really get together and discuss really at almost a program level what skills are needed to deliver this most efficiently. So we discussed this earlier, thinking about house styles, how they design and structure course sites in a coherent way from the student perspective, how they build in activities to it. I suppose the other thing that's on the agenda is the digital literacies of staff, and how we might address that and raise that. And I'm still at an early point in thinking about where we might go with that one. But I think that phrase, when applied to both students and it seems to me staff, is going to kind of become more important over the next couple of years.
No, I think that's a crucial one. I mean, we know one of the issues there is it's not just the technologies themselves, it's confidence, and thinking if they move into an environment where they perceive that students are experts, that students are going to run rings around them. And so there is that confidence issue, and that is something that we are looking at. And also openness. There are staff concerns about that, but we are trying to move to a more open framework, learning and teaching resources being more open, staff looking to learning and teaching resources beyond the institution, bringing them in, the whole agenda of open educational resources. Well, I think there are probably a number. Institutional and strategic engagement by the institution is crucial. So certainly in the early days, I mean, institutionally we've had a virtual learning environment in place since the year 2000. Having a senior member of staff within the university who championed that was actually a crucial step for us. And again, in the early days, was having staff working with us out in the faculties as coordinators who act as our sort of champions. That was very important, and I'm not sure we would have made the inroad, certainly in the early days, without that support and without those staff locally in the faculties. But I think as we move forward, is to continue to see how the world is developing around us. We know, and over the last 10 years, the changes have been immense in terms of the resources that our students can independently get access to all the resources on the web, the OER resources. Students can get those as easily as staff can. Students have their own personal technologies that they can use independently of the institutional technologies, and so is actually recognising that and taking advantage of that, and trying to let staff, to make staff aware of those developments. That's crucial.
Yeah, coming back on Tim's point, I think at the risk of coming up with a cliche, I think that there isn't one size fits all, and a university isn't a kind of homogenous, monolithic culture. It's a place of different, very, very different, conflicting cultures. So actually having a kind of local understandings of what it's like to teach in nursing, what it's like to teach in social work, what it's like to teach in architecture. I mean, that's really important because they want different things out of their technology. And if you say to them e-portfolio, that will mean one thing to a graphic designer and another thing to a radiographer. So the ability to sort of have people that have got that local knowledge, local understandings, or can communicate those understandings to you so that you can put some kind of tailored staff development or tailor the technology to those needs is really, really important. I think saying the VLE is perfect for you or whatever isn't very forward.
Well, I think that sort of localisation, one size fits all, is of course a risk. The issue, and we face this to start with, the issue of appearing to impose technologies on staff can be counterproductive. We try to avoid doing that. I think that's a big risk. And I think there are risks if you don't get it right of being seen to invest in technologies, but you don't change the pedagogic approaches. The key thing is not just that staff are using the technologies, how they're using them, and not just how they're using the technologies, are they rethinking their whole learning and teaching approach for enhancing student learning? That's the key thing. And if you miss that, then it can be very, very expensive technology and not doing much more than we were doing traditionally.
Yeah, in terms of risk, I prefer to kind of put the question more in terms of sort of tensions. I mean, I think Tim's alluded to them. There's the tension between an institution where it makes sense to have one system or a small number of systems. I mean, if you're delivering training and help desk support to staff and students on systems, you don't want to have too many of them, and it becomes confusing. But if you have one or a small number of systems, then how do you address those local needs? So there's a really difficult balance to get right between the kind of sensitivity to the local needs and how do we manage this thing within the context of sort of budget cuts. And money is tight. We have to show value for money. We can't be buying everything that's out there. So that is a tension, I think. And I mean, I have been at workshops where someone has turned up to a VLE workshop and we've realised very early on that she's working in a faculty where we've customised things heavily and it's using it slightly differently, and I need to teach her a different kind of thing to the rest of the group. Thinking about customisation. So sometimes those tensions do throw up problems. Sensitive to the local need, you create a problem for sort of centralised training support.
And it does throw up issues of staff are new to using technologies where they can feel overwhelmed. We mentioned the confidence issue, but suddenly the pressure of feeling, well, perhaps they should be responding more than during the normal work hours. They're going to get students emailing them 24 hours or accessing them via Facebook or so on. So it's working with staff so they can manage that and how best to use those technologies. So there's all of that side of things as well, which is part of digital literacies really.